let's finish it up with this. I don't know if you guys have heard about what Congress is trying to pass, in the Republican Congress, I should say. They are in leadership, and they are trying to pass this thing called the SAVE Act, SAVE, which stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility. That is just a really sweet new term for Jim Crow. There are, in this last election, they have been doing some investigation into whether or not it was really above board. Now, I've heard some people out there going that Elon Musk fucked with voting machines, and I don't know if I give that a lot of credibility, but it's a possibility, you know. I'm sure if Donald Trump had his way, he would let Elon Musk run all the voting machines for the next election. I don't doubt that. But what swayed the election, honestly, was just standard voter suppression. Whether it is cutting the amount of polling places or places where you can vote in, urban areas where, liberals, black and brown people vote, cutting the amount of polling places, or whether it's your name happens to be, Byron Johnson, and a Byron Johnson died in another county in another state, and they go, well, looks like Byron Johnson's dead. I'm like, well, I'm not dead. My name is Byron Johnson. I'm sorry, you're dead. Your vote don't count. Or you signed on your ballot your middle name, and you didn't have your middle name. Or you signed on the ballot without the middle name, and you were supposed to put the middle name. Or you wrote your birthday on there, but you left off the year. Or you didn't put a decimal point. They're looking for any way to throw out a ballot. And then you call in and go, hey, man, did my vote count? And they're like, oh, yeah, it got thrown out for this. But since you came down here, here's a provisional ballot. Which, by the way, they just basically take that thing and they go, oh, okay, we'll make sure that we send that in. And they just fucking throw that shit in the trash. According to Greg Palast, who is an investigative reporter who has been looking at this for the last couple of months, he says that nearly 5 million votes were suppressed or not counted due to provisionary ballots, or that they just refuse them at the polling place because of, any number of the things that I talked about. Well, here comes this new SAVE Act that they're trying to pass. It hasn't passed yet, but it looks like it might. So here comes this SAVE Act, this Safeguarding American Voters Eligibility Act. They are, it's like, hey, if your name doesn't match up, like for instance, hey, you just got married. Your old voter name used to be, Susan Johnson. Now it's Susan Smith because you got married and your name is different. Your vote doesn't count. That's like 70 million women in this country who are married who no longer have their old name. Now they don't have their maiden name. Now they have their husband's name, and now their vote doesn't count. They're doing everything they can to ensure that votes don't get counted. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Paul Weyrich, 1971, Paul Weyrich was one of the founding members of the Heritage Foundation, and he gave a speech on camera in front of a shitload of people saying, Republicans do better when the vote count is low. When the vote count is high, Democrats do better. And the reason being is that there are more Democrats in this country than there are Republicans. A couple of years ago, they did a study of, we had a 50-50 Senate. And the 50 Democrats represented 60% of the American voting constituent. The Republicans represented 40%. We outnumber them. The only way they can win is to cheat. And see, the reason why Donald Trump fucked up in 2020 is he tried to steal the election after the election happened. The way Republicans do it and are successful, they do it before the election. they set all these parameters in place. They purge voting rolls. They eliminate polling places. They get rid of, voters that have similar names. Juan Gonzalez. There's another Juan Gonzalez, in Connecticut, and here we are in Texas. I'm sorry, your vote doesn't count. You voted. You can't vote twice. It's like, you realize there's probably 1,000 Juan Gonzalez's in this country, but they use that as a bullshit cover excuse to get around this. And that seems to be the plan. I don't know, with the way that the Trump regime is running just straight for fascism and the oligarchy, I don't know if they are going to be able to stop the voter turnout in 2026 and 2028, even with this SAVE Act. But I do remember they asked Joe Biden in 2023, they're like, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but they're doing a lot of voter suppression, in these red states. And by the way, the SAVE Act wouldn't just be for red states. It'd be for blue states too. So we're talking countrywide for this thing. But they asked Joe Biden about the voter suppression, and he goes, oh, listen here, Jack, we'll just out-politic them, we'll turn out in bigger numbers and we'll just beat it back. How'd that work out for you? Don't think it worked out very good, did it? But so with this new SAVE Act, that is a very distinct possibility it could pass, they are going to do everything possible to make sure that your vote doesn't count. They want you to have a passport. You show up to a polling place with a passport, which most people in this country don't have passports, or a birth certificate. Yeah, good luck digging that out, Now, of course, you live in a small rural town that is, a blood red voting district, and you go into your local fire department to vote, and your name is Bob Jones, and you know Susan right here, who is actually volunteering at the voting place, and all it takes you is about 15 minutes to go vote. You're probably going to be just fine. I remember having a conversation with my father about this, and I asked him, like, how long have you ever had to wait, to vote? He goes, well, one time I had to wait about 20 minutes. He has no idea what it's like to vote in a city. In 2020, I think I waited 4 hours in line to vote. And that's still not even close. Some of these places like, Louisville, Kentucky, where it's a mostly, urban black and brown area, they cut so many polling places, people were standing in line 10 hours to vote. And they know it's the deterrence. So people are like, I can't wait, 8-10 hours. I got a job, man. And of course, it's on a Tuesday. It's not on a weekend. They don't make it a holiday because they don't want you voting. They don't want to make it easy on you. They want to make voting harder and more difficult so you won't go out and fight for democracy. I don't know if we're going to have enough people to get out there and beat all of the voter suppression techniques and tactics that they're trying to pull. But God damn it, we have got to. And the more and more that Donald Trump and his, band of sycophantic, ass-kissing losers and oligarchs, the more and more that they do, they're going to have to pull out every fucking stop to keep us from flipping the House and the Senate and the presidency. But they're doing everything they can to stop it. So, call your congressman, call your senator, say, what the fuck is this SAVE Act thing and what can we do to stop it? You still can do that. You still can make a stink with your public official. They're here to serve you. Even though most of the time all they do is serve the oligarchy, they're here to serve you. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.